Okay, we're going to start talking about some statistics today, and today we'll have a lot of really words to learn and maybe some new words for you, so very important that you refer back to these notes when you're doing your homework. So we're going to talk about sampling and bias. So what is a sample? So it's a part of a larger group, and the larger group is called the population, but you can't talk to everybody, so you're going to look at a smaller group called the sample, and it's used to represent that large group. So if I wanted to know something about the 8th grade, instead of asking all 8th graders, I might just pick at random some 8th graders and ask them. And that leads us to the next word. A random sample is selected so it's representative of the entire population. It's not chosen without any preference. So if I wanted to know how many people thought basketball was important, and I asked 8th grade girls and boys on the basketball team, that would not be a random sample. So I would need to ask people randomly to get it to be accurate. So sample, population, and random sample are the words there that we need to know. Then we have some different types of random samples. And we just mentioned the simple random. Everybody has a likely chance of being chosen from the population. So putting everybody's name in a hat and drawing it out or something. Then we have this next one called stratified random. The population is first divided into similar, non-overlapping groups. So maybe I would take, all of the 8th graders and put them into some sort of group just randomly. And then a simple random sample is selected, so then maybe I would take one out of each group once I have them divided, and that would then be used. Then another type of sample is the systematic sample. The items are selected according to a specified time or interval. So if I took every 3rd, 8th grader who walked in the cafeteria at lunch or something like that. So that would be a systematic random. So those are 3 different ones: simple random, stratified random, and systematic random. Alright, so here's an example. 10 lakes are selected randomly from a list of all public access lakes in Minnesota. Then we have 2 liters of water that are drawn from 20 feet deep in each of the 10 lakes. So identify the sample and the population. So the sample, and I'll just put an S to represent the sample, is going to be those 10 liters, 10 2-liters, containers of water that we took out, that we're going to look at. So the containers of, what's the symbol for water? H2O. So that would be the sample. We're taking those 10 2-liter containers. What's the population? What did we draw that from? The lake water of all those 10 lakes. So lake water of 10 lakes. How would we classify this? Well, 10 lakes are selected randomly. Didn't say anything about a certain way they did it, so it would be simple random. So you will be having to write out some answers in words today, so you'll want to keep these notes handy. Alright, another word we're going to learn is bias. Random samples are unbiased. In other words, nobody's favored in terms of someone else. In a biased sample, one or more parts of the population are favored over others. That would be kind of like I was talking about the basketball idea. So the first thing we're going to do is identify each sample as biased or unbiased. Every 1,000th bolt is pulled from the protection line and measured for length. So that would be unbiased because there's just bolts going down a line and you're just picking every 1,000th one. What type would this be? This didn't ask you this, but this would be the systematic random that we talked about. Alright, in part B, every 10th customer in line for a certain rock band's concert ticket is asked about his or her favorite rock band. Well, would that be biased or unbiased? That would be biased, because if those people are standing in line for a ticket, that's probably one of their favorite rock bands. So that would be a little biased survey there. Alright, now we have different types of samples. We have a convenience sample. So that includes members of a population that are easily accessed. So if I wanted to ask 8th graders, I would ask 8th graders who I had in my classes instead of going around and asking everybody. So that would be something like that. Voluntary response sample, that involves only those who want to participate. So I would say, here's a form, fill it out if you want to give us your opinion on certain things. So convenience, voluntary. So let's look at this one. The travel account records from 4 of the 20 departments in a corporation are to be reviewed. The accountant states that the first 4 departments to voluntarily submit their records will be reviewed. So, travel account records from 4 of the 20 departments. It's the first thing we're going to be looking at. So, identify the sample and suggest a population. So the sample would be the travel accounts from 4 departments. I don't think I have room to write all that here. So travel accounts, I'll just go on down here, from 4 departments. So that's what we're actually going to look at. That's what the sample is. And then what is the population? So where was this chosen from? It was the travel counts of all departments. That's what it was chosen. So travel accounts. Let's put an S for this one and a P for this one. Of all departments. What kind of sample was this? Well, he said he'd take the first 4 that volunteered, so it would be a voluntary response one. So that would be the type of sample on this one. All right, here's another one we're going to look at. Article for a school paper. He needs to determine whether students in his school believe that an art center should be added to the school. He polls 15 of his friends who sing in the choir. 12 of them think the school needs an art center, so his conclusion is that 80% of the students surveyed support the project. So we're going to analyze this to see if it's good data then, in other words. So identify the sample. So who is the part that we're talking to? The 15 students from the choir that he chose. So 15 students from the choir. Suggest a population. Well, population should be all the students of the school. Should put up the school, because it's not any school. State whether the sample is unbiased or biased. So would you say it's unbiased or biased? Well, I would have to say it's probably a biased sample. Why would we say that? Because these students are in choir, so they think the arts are important. And then if it is biased, classify it as convenience or voluntary. Well, I would say it's probably, whoops, not voluntary, that's wrong. Convenience, because he asked them because they were in class and he knew who they were. So it would be a convenience when they are on that. So again, lots of words that you got to learn the meaning of here. This slide, I just wanted to review some basic statistics with you that we've learned or should know. First one is mean. That's not another name for me. That is the average. How do you find the average? You add all your numbers up and divide by however many numbers in your list. Second is the median. So what is median? That is the middle number. But remember, your numbers need to be in order first to find the middle number. If you don't have a middle number, you take the average of the 2 next to each other. And then we have the mode, which is the number that occurs the most. And if everything occurs once, there is no mode. You could have more than one, too. So most frequent number. So I'm going to give you a list of numbers. We're going to go ahead and I think I'll just put them in order for you to start with. But make sure that you always do put them in order. 46, 35, 28, 22, 18, 13. When you are making your list, make sure you count and know how many you have. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6 numbers in our list. To find the mean, we would add all these up. And I've done that, and I get 162. And we would divide it by 6. And when you do that, you get 27. So the mean is 27 for these numbers. Median, well, 6 numbers, half of 6 is 3, so count up 3 and down 3, and there is no number in the middle. So we're going to take these two and add them together. So when you add 28 plus 22, you get 50, and divide by 2. We're really finding the average of these two, so the median is 25. And what is the mode here? Well, they all occur the most, so in this case, there is no mode. If I add another 46, 46 would be the mode. Depending upon your data, sometimes it's better to use the mean to describe it, sometimes the median. So some things to think about when you're describing data.